Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I've got some fun and easy spring Dollar Tree DIYs to share with you. It's also part of a fun special collab, but I will talk about that in just a moment. Let's get started with the first DIY. All right, so first off, we're gonna do some upcycling. I've got an old marinara sauce jar. I do tend to keep these. And we're gonna clean it off with some rubbing alcohol just to make sure that there is no like grease or fingerprints or anything like that that will make it more difficult for the paint to adhere, because paint can already have a hard time with glass sometimes. And I had actually totally forgotten that I had this Rust-Oleum paint in Serenity Blue. I think Sammy from Unicorn Dust Designs was recently using this color, and it reminded me that I had it, and so I pulled it out. I thought it was perfect for spring, and we're going to give our jar a couple coats of paint. This brush is not that great. It is from the Dollar Tree. It tends to lose bristles, which is annoying, and it was a little bit streaky. There I was pulling off a bristle. However, I was going for a little bit more of a rustic look anyway, so it worked, but we're gonna give it 2 coats of paint. Just make sure that you let it dry in between. Once I had my jar all painted, I wanted to give it a speckled look. This is probably safer done outside, but I did it inside, and I'm just using a stiff brush with some brown paint and using it on my finger. You could also use a toothbrush for this to just kind of flick the paint all over. Kind of reminds me of like an egg, like a robin's egg type of thing, but I don't know, it felt springy to me, so I'm just getting some speckles of that brown paint on the jar. And then I did want to seal this in with Mod Podge because paint does tend to chip off of glass pretty easily, so I'm just going to give this a good coat of Mod Podge. I did paint and Mod Podge the bottom of the jar as well. I just showed you that so that when it was, being set down on the counter or wherever it is I'm going to be using this, that I wouldn't have to worry about the paint coming off. And then just for some little detail, I've got this burlap trim. This comes in a pack of 3 different kinds from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use this one here. I thought was pretty, and I'm going to just use a little bit of hot glue to wrap that around the top and then make a sweet little bow to put in the front. I did wrap that around twice just because it's kind of sheer, and I wanted a little bit of a different look. It looked better to me wrapped around twice, and I had enough of it to do that. We're going to trim off the tail of the bow and then put in some Dollar Tree florals, and that is all for this one. I'll show you the finished DIY at the end. I wanted to take just a moment to thank Ellie from DIY From House to Home for inviting me to be a part of this collab. This is a dollar store spring DIY challenge. Also in this collab is Deco Easy and Designs by Gaddis. So make sure you check out these other creators. I will have the playlist link down below for you, and you'll get some more fun spring DIY inspiration. For this next DIY, I'm using this sign. This was from Walmart after Christmas clearance. It was in a pack with other things. I think it was supposed to be like a minis or a tiered tray set, and I picked it up on clearance knowing that I could just DIY it. But there's lots of things like this shape and size from Dollar Tree. So I'm starting by taking off the label and sanding and smoothing and just giving myself a clean surface, because we are going to paint this side of it. I'm using my little handheld vacuum to clean up any mess. And we will cover the back as well, but I'm going to use more of that paint in Serenity Blue and give this a couple coats. I'm going to paint the sides and the back, and I think I probably end up giving it 2 coats altogether. I'm going to paint it before covering the back, because if I get paint over the back edge, then I can still cover it up, but if I painted it, or if I covered it up first, then yeah, the paint would be on the paper that I'm covering it with. If you are new to my channel, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I love to share easy and budget-friendly DIYs on this channel. I hope that you consider subscribing before you leave. I was just sharing with you, when I'm when I've got something that I've got to do a couple of coats of paint, and either I'm choosing to let it air dry instead of using my hair dryer, or I just need to walk away from it, because sometimes I do my DIYs over a course of a few days, just painting when I have a moment. I wrap it up in some plastic wrap, and that keeps it from drying and getting hard, and I don't have to clean it in between. So I do that on occasion. Once that paint was all dry, it had a little bit of a texture from that crummy paintbrush I was using again. So I just gave it a little sanding to smooth it out, and that did the trick. And then I also did sand a little bit more on the edges to kind of give it that distressed look, because we are going to go for that appearance because, well, that's what I like. So we're going in with this brown paint. That was probably what I used on the jar as well. And I'm just going to use my stencil brush and kind of highlight the edges, and then we will dry brush across the whole thing as well, just to give it a little bit of an older look. Make sure to get the edges as well, just for a complete look. And then I'm going to use these stickers. These are from Hobby Lobby. I like to look at Hobby Lobby for their stickers whenever they have them marked down, which happens periodically, not just when they're on sale, when they're like running clearance on some of those items. And so I pick them up when I find them, and we're just going to put the word bloom across. You could of course do anything you wanted, but I'm choosing to do bloom. And I'm going to go over with some Mod Podge in a matte finish, because the stickers were a little glossy, and I wanted to matte them down to just kind of match better. But then after I did the Mod Podge, I was like, I really kind of need to do that little brown streaks that I had on the sign over the words too, to make it all blend in. So once the Mod Podge was dry, I went ahead and added that over the top. But you could do that beforehand, but it still worked. Once that's all done, we're going in with some Mod Podge and this shiplap colored or shiplap patterned cardstock. I have bought a pack of that has lasted me forever from Hobby Lobby. It is a thicker paper, not a thin one, so you've got to go in with a pretty thick layer of Mod Podge, as what I found, because it's very thick. And I'm just using a brayer that was sent to me from Plaid, which is the company that is, oh my goodness, it's a company that sells Mod Podge as well as like apple barrel paint and lots of different paints. Anyways, we're going to trim that down and Mod Podge over that as well. I did go in once the Mod Podge was dry with a nail file to just trim off one of those edges a little bit. That is a very handy tool for getting a nice finished edge. Now I'm going to go in with this twine. This was from the Dollar Tree, and wrapping that around quite a few times. I didn't want it to be super neat, and we're going to attach a floral sprig. This is also from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to just tie the twine in a knot, use a lighter to burn off any fuzzies, and then we're going to go in with a hot glue gun to help secure that floral piece down in there a little bit better, and making sure it stays off of the word so that it doesn't, creep up and block that word at all. And that is all there is for this particular DIY. Like I said, I will show you everything finished at the end. Alright, so for this next DIY, we're going to make over this little house. Now this was from a set from Target, I believe, Target Dollar Spot at some point, but you could use any house. I've picked them up on clearance at Hobby Lobby. I've also picked them up at Dollar Tree. But my snowflake was broken, and I was like, might as well just redo this one. So I'm using my hairdryer to heat up the hot glue that was on there so that I can pull up my snowflake and have a fresh start. Now, because this started out black from a previous project, it's going to take a couple coats of Waverly chalk paint in white to cover it. But obviously this will be different if you're just starting with a fresh plain wood house. I do like this one because it has a little chimney on it. A lot of ones that I find do not, but either way, we're going to just give this a good base coat of white paint, and I think I did 2 to 3 coats. Once again, because it was black, took a little bit more to get the coverage that I wanted. If you are enjoying this video, please give it a thumbs up. Your interactions, like giving it a thumbs up, commenting, or sharing my video or all of those kinds of things really just help out my channel a lot. It lets YouTube know that you're digging it, and it makes it more likely to share it with others. So now that I have my house painted, I'm going to go in with these rub-on transfers from Dollar Tree. I think they're so pretty. So for this DIY and the next one, we're kind of going a little bit different with the floral aspects of the challenge. There are florals, but they are not the physical florals, I suppose you could say. But I love this pretty spring floral rub-on transfer, and I thought this would be a really cute piece on the house. I was going to say the tree. I don't know why. So I'm just rubbing that on and just keeping an eye on it as I go to make sure it transferred well. And I will save the rest of that and use that in a future DIY. And I'm just going to take more of that jute twine, and we're just going to wrap that around just a couple times and tie a simple bow on the front of the house. For this next and final DIY, I have this cute bike stake, garden stake, I guess, from the garden section in Dollar Tree. And the stake itself came off pretty good. I just gently bent it up and it broke off very easily there. That wasn't too sharp of an edge, and we're going to go ahead and paint this whole thing. I'm going to start by painting it in Waverly chalk paint in the color white, because I wanted to give it a good base, because some of the other colors I'm going to be using are just an acrylic paint, and I figured they wouldn't have as good a coverage. So we're going to start by painting it all with Waverly chalk paint in white, and it actually took the paint really good. I did do front and back, although it probably wasn't super necessary for the back, just in the way that I will be using it. But anyway, the floral piece of this obviously is on the wheels of the bike, and I thought this was really fun and spring-like, and I just wanted to change it up to kind of fit my decor a little bit better. So we're going to paint all of that in white, like I said, till it's all fully covered. It's going to be a couple coats, but it really was quick. It also dried super fast. And initially I wanted to keep the bike seat black, so I'm going in with Waverly chalk paint in the color ink, just because the original bike did not have the greatest paint job on it, so there was other colors on it. Plus I wanted to paint the underside of it because I thought that might be able to be seen, depending on where you're standing, when I have this all done. But anyways, I changed that in just a little bit. I pulled out these colors from my stash. These are also by Plaid. They sent these to me over a year ago, probably, well, definitely over a year ago. Anyways, some really pretty spring colors. I just picked out what looked good to me, and we're going to give them all, well, we're going to give each of the flowers a coat of paint, and we'll do this like salmony color and then this pretty green, and then we'll paint the centers of each flower with the yellow. I just pulled out some of my smaller paint brushes. This one, the little one, the center is not actually, it's like raised, but it's not separate, so I had to kind of actually draw on the circle, whereas on the pink flower, the center is actually like a raised separate piece, so that was a little bit easier. But either way, now we're going to go in with this pretty blue color to paint the seat, and that took a couple coats because, well, I was painting over black. So we're going to give that a couple coats of blue, and then I just wanted a little bit more color, so I decided to go ahead and paint the handlebars of the bike with that same blue color. And I think these colors are bright and fun and perfect for spring. I did also decide to go in with some Mod Podge just to prevent the paint from chipping off, especially because we're going to be using some floral wire on this, and I didn't want it to scrape off the paint. So I just went in with a little bit of Mod Podge over the whole thing, and I just made sure I didn't have too much on my paintbrush, otherwise it kind of globbed in all the little pieces. And yeah, so we're just doing that to kind of seal it in. That is optional. I guess everything's really optional, because if you do it, then it's your own DIY. What I wanted to do with this bike was put it on a wreath, and so that's what we're doing. This is a wreath I picked up last year from Aldi. I picked up quite a few of them. I picked up like one, and then they went on clearance and I picked up more. But you could do this on any wreath, and I'm just using a little bit of floral wire to gently attach this to the bike, or to the wreath. and I'm just wrapping it through, and then I'll flip it over and kind of tighten up the floral ties, trim it down just a little bit, and to prevent the scratching of my door, I just tuck the ends of the wire kind of back into the wreath so that it doesn't scratch my door. All right, so let's take a final look at each of the DIYs. I love this little bike on the wreath. I just have it hanging in my kitchen on my pantry door. It's so fun and bright and cheerful. And our little robin's egg inspired upcycled jar with some fun florals. Those florals are available at Dollar Tree this year. I have seen them again this year. And this little bloom sign, perfect for a tiered tray for sure. The size is just right for that. And then last but not least, I love this little house. I thought this was a great way to use this really fun floral spring rub-on transfer from Dollar Tree. That's going to do it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked it, once again, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Also, if you are new here, maybe because of the collab or maybe you just happened upon my video, I would love it if you would consider subscribing before you leave. And don't forget to check out the playlist down in the description box so that you can get some other fun spring DIY inspiration. And thank you once again to Ellie for hosting this collab and asking me to be a part of it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.